Well, I think a message of very strong support for Gibraltar in a post-Brexit environment, working with the UK is the top priority. Gibraltar and the UK already have a very close economic and cultural and commercial relationship, and I think what we heard from the Minister was that he shares our view that that relationship should be strengthened.
Would you say one of the more important points made by the Minister was on the issue of trade agreements, that mechanisms are now in place with the UK and Gibraltar government to move forward with this?
Yes, absolutely. He highlighted a number of important priorities. One was trade. We're very keen to make sure that Gibraltar is part of whatever arrangements the UK negotiates for itself in the new world order it's moving into, and it was very reassuring to hear the Minister confirm that he accepts Gibraltar will be involved in that process and should benefit from those new mechanisms.
Well, the Minister's message focusing on reassurance with regards to sovereignty and trade agreements when it comes to Gibraltar, but is this something that you trust?
Well, you know, Gibraltarians are not unfamiliar with the fact that we have a lot of reassurances, but sometimes because we're small, our interests have been sacrificed on the altar of wider priorities. Look, I think all the message we're getting from the UK is very positive. We have friends in many places, in very many top places, but Gibraltar can't afford to be complacent. We have got to battle for every advantage, which is legitimate. We've got to avoid creating Gibraltar fatigue. We don't want to bore our friends to the extent that they simply get tired of listening to Gibraltar, but we have strong assurances, but we can't just take them for granted. We've got to make sure the goals are scored and that we actually get the outcomes that the UK is promising we will have.
We also heard how the UK government is now considering the double taxation agreement, something that the Gibraltar government has proposed for some time. So I imagine something you welcome?
Indeed, we have long been frustrated at the fact that Gibraltar hasn't got what we call a double tax treaty with the UK. Many other similar places have them, and we have always been hard done by virtue of the fact that we don't have a DTA. To some extent, being part of the EU has mitigated the negative effects of that, because within the EU, some of the things that a double tax treaty does, you get through EU directives. But in a post-Brexit world where those directives will no longer apply, the absence of a DTA will be even more obvious. So I'm very glad that the government, with help from the private sector, has put together a proposal to the UK on how a DTA might look. And it's excellent to have heard the Minister confirm that they are looking at this, and hopefully they'll be in a position to approve it or come back with comments that we can address.